Okay, so Jack, before our interview, tell us your thoughts.
My thoughts? Kind of nervous, but since it's my first time, like doing a straight-up interview with a successful person.
Successful person.
Yeah.
Hi, Cindy. Everybody say hi. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Jack. Jerry. No, Peter. Peter. Hi, Peter.
Okay, so how long have you been in Taiwan?
7 months.
Only 7 months?
Yes.
Okay. So according to your job, you must have traveled a lot in the world. So aside from Taiwan, how many countries have you worked in before?
Okay, so for my current job, my current employer, this is my second posting. Before I came here, I was 4 years in Poland, in Europe. And before that, I was in Austria for 1 year for a pre-posting training, because before they send you out, they give you a training in headquarters. And then the 2 years before, I was doing my master's degree in Geneva, in Switzerland. I was working there part-time also, but mainly focusing on studies. And ahead of that, I was working for 2 years in Fiji, in the Pacific. And that was for the EU delegation. You know, the European Union has similar entities like embassies of nation states, they're called delegation. And the one for the Pacific region is based in Fiji. And I had a 2-year contract there.
So what is the main responsibility or the goals of your current work?
Right. So Advantage Austria is the brand name of my organization. It's Austria's trade promotion organization. We have more than 100 offices in 70 countries around the world.
Okay.
And usually my organization is also part of the embassy, Austrian embassy structure. So usually my office would be part of, or would be the commercial department at an embassy. So my employer is the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber. But abroad, we would usually be among the roof of the Austrian embassy. So abroad, we would, if we were talking to Austrian companies, we would say, okay, we represent the Austrian Chamber of Commerce. If we are talking to the host country, we would say we are the commercial department or the economy department of the Austrian embassy. And Advantage Austria is just the overarching brand name we're using.
What mainly do you do at your daily work time? It's like, what do you focus on and what do you aim to do at your work here?
So in general, the task of my organization, Advantage Austria, is to support Austrian businesses worldwide, to facilitate their international expansion, and also to facilitate cooperation between companies from different countries, in this case Taiwan, and Austrian companies. In order to achieve this goal, we are doing a host of activities. Here we are providing information material, we are drafting reports about the local market. We give them legal advice if they want to enter the market or if they have any issues here on the market. We support them if they are looking for employees, if they're looking to setting up a subsidiary to invest in the country. We give them advice which would be the best region, the best city to invest, where can you find skilled labor force. We are organizing events both locally, and we're trying to bring people from Austria. So locally, once a month we're having networking events. It's called ABC, Austrian Business Circle.
Once a month?
Once a month usually, or every second month, depends. And there we invite local companies which have an interest in Austria, in the Austrian market, and the representatives of Austrian subsidiaries here, and also other people who are interested in Austria. So also I can invite you guys, if you can spend some time, you would be most welcome to attend. You can practice the German.
Oh yeah, sure.
And
thank you.
You can meet people who are interested in Austria. So we organize local events, but also we try to bring Austrian delegations to Taiwan. Business delegations. So for example, this month we will bring a business delegation which will attend the Computex Innovex trade fair.
No, Computex. Yes.
And at the same time, we bring some people from Austrian Ministry who will meet with their counterparts from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and of Foreign Affairs here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So we will have one day we'll have a conference where a memorandum of understanding will be signed, and where the Taiwanese side and the Austrian side have opportunity to present themselves to the other side.
So as I conclude, mainly your job is to promote or helping the Austrian businesses to thrive in Taiwan.
Correct.
You provide information, legal advices,
counseling,
stuff like that. And so do you do these for free? Do the companies have to pay or have to do anything for enjoying the service that you provide?
So the system works differently in different countries. In the Austrian case, it's that the basic service is free. So 8 hours per company per market is free of charge. So say an Austrian company is interested in exporting a product to Taiwan and they ask us for advice, then 8 working hours we work for them for free.
Yes.
And if it exceeds 8 hours, we would charge money, but very little compared to consultancies or other private companies.
Yes.
This is the case because membership in the Federal Economic Chamber in Austria is mandatory for companies. Therefore, each and every Austrian company has to be a member of my parent organization. Yes. Therefore, we cannot easily charge them money because they have to pay their membership fees anyways.
Oh, okay.
Right? So they have to pay membership fees back in Austria, and then once they need our services in Austria or abroad, usually our services are free of charge.
That's actually a really good service. Because I don't know if Taiwan has other those services provided by our government. Yeah, so I think it's really, really good to be an Austrian business.
Well structured.
Yeah.
If I may add, it's above all good and useful for small and medium-sized enterprises, which we have many in Austria, and I think also in Taiwan we have many of those, because the biggest ones, for example, you might know Red Bull, that's an Austrian brand, or Swarovski, the crystal maker, right? Exactly, this one. So they are very successful internationally, and they are big enough in order not to need our services, because they have their own offices in many countries of the world. But small and medium-sized Austrian enterprises, they might have their office nearby, maybe in Germany, a subsidiary, or in Switzerland, in Italy. But when they want to export or conquer the Taiwanese market by themselves, it's very far away, and they don't have usually the resources and the money to do that.
Will you be able to share one of your most memorable experience or most interesting experience that you have experienced for these 7 months since you arrived here as this job?
Okay, I mean, in general, there are many interesting experiences, and most of the things I experienced are also quite different from back in Europe, be it Austria, be it Poland, because obviously culture is a bit different, and also the working priorities are different. But what I am most impressed by is how well you're treated if you come as a foreign representative. That's actually, it applies to most events you're invited to. People treat you super friendly, very nicely, almost like a VIP, right?
That's what we
it's
do.
different in Europe. In Europe, if you come to an event, they will be friendly, of course, but formal and nothing special. Whereas here, they treat you so nicely, you get a gift, you're doing group photos, everybody's happy to talk to you, to mingle with you. So I've been quite impressed by this amount of friendship and openness that people of Taiwan show to us foreigners.
Yeah, we do that very often.
Yeah.
We love foreigners.
Yeah.
What are the main parts that you would like to, besides the one you just tell us about? What are the other main differences that you have spotted or experienced?
Right. I mean, here I think while people are very friendly and forthcoming towards foreigners, it's also clear that I think hierarchy is important, and the way how you do things is important. So quite a bit of formalism, the way how you present your business card and who greets who, and the senior person, sits on this side, and the junior sits on the other side, and the senior, talks first, and then the other one. All of this, of course, we also have in Europe and in other cultures, but here I think it's more pronounced. It's more easily visible, this type of hierarchy and of traditional,
like Chinese manners.
Exactly, Chinese manners, and maybe traditional ways of leadership and of management.
Yes.
In some countries like US, English-speaking Northern European countries, or to some degree also Austrian, German-speaking countries, it's more easygoing, right? So sometimes it's less formal. You just say, "Hey, my name is Steve. How are you doing?" And just have a seat. Here it's usually more formal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you prefer any one of those, or just different experiences?
Yeah, it just depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if you go to an event and they treat you nicely and they say, "Oh, deputy director, and it's a pleasure to have you here. They're super friendly to you," it's nice. But sometimes in a day-to-day working relationship, I think it's easier if it's less informal, because then you can be more efficient.
Yeah.
And also I've experienced, it depends a lot on the company. If I've visited a couple of startups here, and there it's of course influenced by US manners, and there it's very informal, and everybody is, as we say in German, per du, per du, not informal, but quite informal, and everybody seems to be focused on the outcome and not so much on the traditions around it. Whereas if you go to an established, older company here, bigger, more traditional, usually it's also the leadership style is more traditional. You've got the boss at the top, and then you've got a couple of assistants.
Yes.
So I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It depends on what you want to achieve and the business sector you're working in.
Okay. And now we are interested in which industries does Austria most often cooperate with Taiwan?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would like to start by saying that bilateral trade relations are developing very well. So last year we had a plus of 30% of Austrian exports to Taiwan, and a plus of 10% of imported products from Taiwan to Austria. And overall, 2018, Austria exported €500 million worth of goods, so 500,000 million euros, and Taiwan imported to Austria 745 million euros, quite a lot. And so those sectors where we have most trade relationship are from the Austrian export side, machinery and equipment for different production plants.
What is your personal background, for example, like your education and your work experience?
Okay. So my education, my first degree was law in Austria at the University of Vienna. And I think legal studies are quite useful because we have a very broad range. So after legal studies, at least in Europe, in Austria, you can work in a narrow legal profession. And so I did that. And my master's degree I was doing in Switzerland in international relations, which obviously helps me for my current job. Then I started my career, actually I was doing like a traineeship at the Austrian government for 1 year. And then, as mentioned already, I had the opportunity to have a 2-year contract at the EU delegation in Fiji in the Pacific. That was also in the trade and political section. Right. So after the EU job, I actually, time-wise, then I went back to do my master's in Switzerland. And in Switzerland there's some EU agencies. So I was doing some consultancy work for UN agencies there. And then my next job was for my current employer. So 1 year in headquarters, pre-posting training, then 4 years in Poland, in Warsaw, and now 7 months here in Taiwan.
And what makes you choose this job? Yes.
Why I like to do this job?
Yes.
Yes, so first of all, I think it's very diverse. every day there's something else happening. It's usually difficult to expect which tasks will come up, but it's always different from the tasks you did the previous day. This is because we are working with a whole variety of stakeholders. So we are working here with private businesses from Taiwan and the public sector ministries in Taiwan. At the same time, we work with Austrian private businesses, which are our clients, and Austrian ministries. And if we talk about business, also here the range is very broad. So we're dealing, on the one day we might be dealing with traditional companies such as construction industry or agriculture, and the next day we might be going to a startup event to do scouting for Austrian investors which might be interested to invest in Asian startups, right? So it's a very broad range of activities and of also people you meet in your day-to-day business, which is exciting. And maybe last point, it's nice if you have by your work the opportunity to travel, right? And to live in different countries, different cultures, and have the opportunity to talk to people like you from other countries who bring different perspectives. You can practice your foreign language skills, English or Deutsch or your little Chinese, which is fun and which makes you expand your capabilities.
What's your family thought about your job and because you need to fly abroad a lot?
So yeah, it's like for us, our parents, most of the Asian parents hope that we find a stable job and we just visit it often and probably live with it after we're married. And so we're curious about after you made your mind to do this job, is there any opinions from your family? Are they supportive, or maybe they have some concerns about this?
So it's true, this can be an issue, and it's a minor issue also in my family. My father is very supportive because he likes to travel a lot himself, but my mother usually would like me to be closer to home. But at the same time, she understands that it's a good opportunity I'm having, because if you're abroad, you are not only getting your base salary, but you're getting some extra salary for living far away, right? So in terms of your salary, it's good for you, and it's also an interesting life I can live. And I'm here not by myself, but with my wife, which makes it also easier, and which also gives some comfort to my mother to know that I'm not on my own, but with somebody I'm very close with.
So last but not least, from your personal point of view, what kind of characteristics or personalities or skill that is required for doing your job?
I mean, something which is obvious, you have to be flexible, right? And you have to be flexible in terms of where you live and also the people who you work with or who you are surrounded by. Because obviously, and actually it can happen that your employer, even though he told you would be staying in Taiwan for 4 years, it might be that after 2 years they say, okay, you now have more work in a different office in Moscow, in Russia, therefore we don't need you to work in Taiwan anymore, but you will be transferred immediately to Moscow, right? And then within a week or two, you have to wrap up here, you have to leave the country and start anew in a totally different country and start making new connections, meeting new people, making new friends. And so you have to be flexible in terms of where you work and who you work with. The second point is you have to like to, be with people, talk to people, network, because a large part of our job is to go to events, meet people, exchange business cards, and then build your, guanxi. And then if Austrian company needs some service, has some issue, it would be ideal if you have the right contact person who you can, relate the Austrian company to.
One last question. Do you have any suggestions for those who might want to try this kind of job in the future?
Okay, so first of all, I think obviously study hard, and I think you not only concentrate on your main
studies, but at the same time it's important to have qualifications in languages or in some other fields of study. So for example, if you study business, it's good to learn a little bit about law or international history or some other or development policies. I think it's good to prepare ahead. Also in terms of soft skills, therefore, like for example, a Toastmasters club or something where you practice your speaking or where you practice your leadership skills or whatever is quite useful.